So this is the part 2 of our first video of the Modernism project. And with this one we'll be talking about the different aspects of modernism and what makes up modernism.
And the specific writing style that has been come to be known with modern writers. And the first theme that is really seen through modernism is disillusionment. And this is very true, as many of these writers wrote during the Great Depression, and many people just did not understand what was going on. They didn't understand the changing society around them and how life just wasn't what it used to be. They couldn't really trust the government anymore. They couldn't trust each other. They didn't know anything about themselves, it seemed. And this really came through the writing, and you can tell specifically through the piece we're going to talk about, Breakfast by John Steinbeck, that this is going to play a big role.
Next two that come into pair really are symbolism and imagery, and we see these specifically throughout every piece and every writer's, no matter what. You see this throughout every aspect, and similarly with John Steinbeck, as he talks about the Great Depression, as in the writing that we're going to talk about as Breakfast, it really concentrates on a family that's just hanging on to life barely by little bits of food and what little provisions they have. And the symbolism and imagery ties in with those modern day as what they would seem past to us, those modern day occurrences and the troubles that they dealt with. And the imagery and the symbolism would reflect what they are experiencing with the only things that they have, such as home, food, just provisions like that. And we really see that throughout each of the writing of each author. So,
Modernism writing style also included a break with the traditional views of the world and how the world was changing about people. And this was a new century, and the industrialization of the world had made a significant impact upon the people's lives in the United States. And instead of following the views of England and Europe, American writers had finally made a name for themselves instead of following someone else's footsteps.
And that also came with new centuries like the Roaring '20s, where America was finally breaking away from everyone else, and they had their own economy boosting, and everything was going good. And then you had the Depression, and everything just broke away with that. But another thing that modernism comes from is the break from realism. And realism, also known as regionalism, was just talking about kind of more of a nature aspect, what the world is like, rather than your true self. So it kind of just breaks away from nature and what one thinks about the world, instead of concentrating on the modern day issues that, tie in with events like the Great Depression or women's rights, activism, civil rights, etc., etc. So that's another big issue that came from the modernism writing, was the breaking away of that old realism tradition.
Yep. And once again, we got our information from sources on Bloom's and also from our book. And
Yep. So.